Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello, everybody. Today, actually, we are going to deal with the terminology of banking. As we all know that banking discourse can involve the translation of annual reports, prospectuses, bank statements, investment marketing translation, microeconomic survey translation, equity research translation, shareholder information, profit and loss reports, insurance policy translation, as well as, of course, banking, finance, and insurance websites. What maybe attracts the attention to this type of terminology and the discourse is that the banking discourse can be distinguished from other economic discourse types with its heavy reliance on figures and statistics. So, making use of the target language relevant templates facilitates the translation process by giving the translator more time to concentrate on the linguistic message to be conveyed rather than wasting time to looking for suitable presentation method. If we look into actually this text, actually this text is a kind of text taken from banking. Our job is to look into it and see the grammatical as well as the discourse features that maybe can, let's say, give it its own characteristics. So this business text, which is, of course, here, right? This business text, actually, we, the undersigned, hereby agree that the signature of any one of us in our on or in relation to any matter regarding the joint account will bind the other joint account holders and expressly constitute the authorization for each joint account holder to have full powers to conduct any transaction on the joint account by way of instruction to the bank and other instructions to operate the joint account, including but not limited to notice of change in information declared at this form without requiring our joint signatures. We have read and understood the provisions relevant to joint accounts in general terms and conditions of HSBC Bank, Vietnam Limited, and agreed to be bound by them. So here in this text, actually, our job is to see the grammatical and discourse features. As we see that this text can or uses formal as well as legal banking language, which is designed to ensure clarity, legal accountability, and operational authority in managing joint accounts. So the grammar here in this text reflects the needs of precision, authorization, and institutional standardization. So here we have a kind of breakdown of the key grammatical features that we all should be aware of. So one of these features, dear students, is the use of the first person plural, we, and passive constructions. For example, the comma, of course, the undersigned, comma, hereby agree to, oh, sorry, agree that the signature, blah, blah, blah. Or we have read, right, and understood the provisions relevant to joint account in general, and so. So here, the use of we, the first person plural, functions as a kind of collective responsibility while using the formal passive structure to show acceptance of external terms. It removes the need to specify an agent who made the terms, which is common in banking documents. Sorry. So another feature is the use of legal modality, which is very important in this regard, like hereby, shall, constitute, authorize. So, for example, we, the undersigned, hereby agree that the signature, blah, 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 or the verb constitute an authorization, as in the sentence, let's say, will bind the other joint account holders and expressly constitute an authorization for each joint account holder, blah, etc. So the function here is it's that it adds the use of such modality, let's say, like hereby, constitute, without requiring, and so on and so forth, that it adds legal force and formality. So hereby, for example, is a marker of formality and immediacy common in contracts and legal texts. Let's say the third characteristic is the use of complex sentence structure without conditionals and embedding. Example, for example, including but not limited to notice of change, including but not limited to notice of change, as in the sentence. For example, the sentence, other instructions to operate the joint account, including but not limited to notice of change in information declared at this form without requiring our joint signatures. So this actually, such a construction like this with a complex sentence, is the use of the ing including, for which includes, for example. It provides a kind of flexibility while still being legally precise, ensuring that even if a new information arises, it is covered under this clause. Also, we have the enumerative and inclusive style, because, as we said, that it is close to legal and financial spirit of a text. We have this enumeration as in instructions to bank and other instructions to operate, right? Instructions to bank and other instructions to operate, as in the sentence, for example, the sentence with for each joint account holder to have full powers to conduct any transaction on joint account by way of instruction to the bank and other instructions to operate the joint account, including, right? Including but not limited to notice, blah, blah, blah. So here the function, let's say this kind of instruction, let's say, it lists some kind of possible actions covered by an agreement to limit liability and ensure operational clarity. What about reference to external documents for authority? Yes, of course, there is a kind of reference, as in the last, let's say, the last, let's say, the last sentence, as in the provisions, right? We have read the provisions, right? The provisions, we have read and understood the provisions relevant to joint account in general terms and conditions. So here, if we look at this, we find that it has a kind of anchors this specific agreement to a broader institutional legal framework, which is a common feature in banking contracts. So, in conclusion, we can say that the grammatical structures, I mean, formal register, passive voice, legal modality, and complex syntax are all of them in collection highly appropriate for the banking discourse. So, because this ensures, or these features, I mean, ensure that the text is legally binding, it minimizes ambiguity, and it provides institutional protection for both the bank and the clients. If we look back at this, now let's move to the translation of this text and see how the features actually can be accommodated in the establishment of the possible translation that we all let's say expect to have for this let's say for this paragraph or for this text. So we the undersigned hereby agree to that the signature of any one of us on or in relation to any matter regarding the joint account will bind the other joint account holders and expressly constitute an authorization for each joint account holder to have full powers to conduct any translation on the joint account by way of instruction to the bank and other instructions to operate the joint account, including but not limited to notice of change in information declared at this form without requiring our joint signatures. We here, right? So we, the undersigned, نحن, we, the undersigned, الموقعون أدناه. So this is a kind of a positive sandwiched between two commas, right? Hereby, this type of, let's say, expression that we talked about as a feature of these texts agree that نقر بموجب هذا بأن توقيع that the signature of any of us بأن توقيع أي منا any of us on or in relation to any matter على أي أمر يتعلق بالحساب on or in relation to في موضوع الحساب أو متعلقات الحساب any matter regarding the joint account. Joint account means الحساب المشترك يعد ملزما will bind the other joint account ملزما لبقية أصحاب الحساب المشترك will bind will be binding okay will bind the other joint account uh, okay account holders and expressly constitute an authorization بصلاحيات كاملة لإجراء أي معاملة على الحساب المشترك من خلال التعليمات المقدمة إلى البنك. Okay, so here we can say that full authorization بصلاحيات كاملة constitute an authorization for each joint account holder لمعاملة الحساب المشترك من خلال التعليمات to have full powers to conduct any transaction المقدمة إلى البنك وأي تعليمات أخرى لتشغيل الحساب المشترك to on joint account by instruction to the bank and other instructions to operate the joint account الحساب المشترك including but not limited to بما في ذلك على سبيل المثال للحصر but not hmm, limited to notice of change in information declared إشعار بتغيير المعلومات المصرح بها في هذا النموذج at this form without requiring بدون الحاجة without requiring it to our joint signatures إلى توقيعاتنا المشتركة. We have read and understood the provisions. لقد قرأنا لقد here we use لقد to indicate a kind of certainty. لقد قرأنا وفهمنا. We have read and understood the provisions الأحكام المتعلقة relevant to joint account بالحسابات المشتركة in the general terms في الشروط والأحكام العامة للبنك لبنك اللي هو HSBC في فيتنام والواقع في فيتنام أو الموجود في فيتنام المحدود and agree to be bound by them ونوافق على الالتزام بها. So here, as we say that, as we see, sorry, that نحن الموقعون الأدنى نقر بموجب بهذا بأن توقيع أي منا على أي أمر يتعلق بالحساب المشترك يعد ملزما لبقية أصحاب الحساب المشترك، كما يعد صريحا يفوض كل صاحب حساب مشترك بصلاحيات بصلاحيات كاملة لإجراء آه، لإجراء أي معاملة على الحساب المشترك من خلال التعليمات المقدمة إلى البنك وأي تعليمات أخرى لتشغيل الحساب المشترك، بما في ذلك على سبيل المثال لا الحصر إشعار بتغيير المعلومات المصرح بها في هذا النموذج دون الحاجة إلى توقيعاتنا المشتركة. لقد قرأنا وفهمنا الأحكام المتعلقة بالحسابات المشتركة في الشروط والأحكام العامة لبنك HSBC في فيتنام المحدود ونوافق على الالتزام بها. So here, as you see, we have come across the characteristics, features of the, let's say, banking text, as well as the practice of translation from English into Arabic for such a text, applying all these actually characteristics and features. So thanks for listening and see you next time.